Referendum day in eastern Ukraine. Separatists are confident their plan will be approved, but the western Kiev have dismissed the ballot as illegal. There are no outside observers or official voter lists, adding to criticism of the poll. Girls who escaped kidnappers in Nigeria meet with mothers of those still missing to tell them more about how it happened. Search teams continue to comb the vast forest in the north where the girls were first taken almost a month ago. And the bearded lady wins the Eurovision Song Contest 2014 with a powerful voice and a persona aimed at promoting social tolerance. Hello and a very warm welcome to the France 24 newsroom. It's already been deemed by the West and Kiev as illegal, but voting is to go ahead in eastern Ukraine this Sunday, a referendum on independence in the Donetsk and Luhansk regions. Just over a dozen towns will be voting. Some 7 million people are eligible, but with no official voter lists. Fears are that anyone who turns up will be allowed to cast a ballot. And there is no minimum turnout required by the separatists to validate the result. France 24's Gulliver Cragg is in Donetsk and tells us more about the wording of the referendum, saying that already says a lot.
According to Roman Lyagin, the 33-year-old head of the Electoral Commission of the Donetsk People's Republic, everything is ready here for a referendum that will be in line with all international and European norms, despite a budget of a bit less than $2,000. The question being asked is, do you support the act of self-reliance of the Donetsk People's Republic? Clearly, the wording has been chosen carefully to avoid any mention of independence or of joining the Russian Federation. Surveys show that residents of this region are keen on the idea of a federalized Ukraine, on greater autonomy for their region, but not necessarily on rejoining Russia. So clearly there is a desire here to get as many people voting in favor in this referendum as possible. But Ukrainian media have suggested that there is also a intention of falsifying the vote. Some Ukrainian websites have already published photos of voting cards that have already been filled in. According to the electoral authorities here, there are going to be a little bit more than 1,500 polling stations in Donetsk region. But of course, there's a question mark over how many of those polling stations will really be able to function in a context of a very, very fragile security situation. And of course, in a situation where the Ukrainian authorities have clearly stated that this referendum is illegal. But we've seen in recent days that Kiev is having trouble controlling the police forces in this region. And information that's been coming to us from several towns and villages around Donetsk would suggest that polling stations there are going to be able to open.
Well, according to recent opinion polls in the region, 70% of people want to stay in a united Ukraine, even if many do have misgivings with the current government in Kiev. As preparations were finalised, locals in Donetsk were giving the referendum very mixed reactions.
Today, we can say for sure that 1,527 polling stations will open at 8 a.m. and most of them will close at 10 p.m. We can make an exception for Slavyansk. Because of the security situation, polling stations there will close at 6 p.m. It's possible people in other hotspots will vote in the same way.
Of course we approve the referendum. What else can we do? I'm so worried about Ukraine. We want peace and calm. We want to work as we used to before.
Of course, even if I go, I would vote no, because I find the referendum totally unacceptable, because there are no observers, no control, no voter lists. One can vote wherever he wants, as many times as he wants. It's not a referendum, it's a mess.
Well, in Luhansk, ballot boxes were only being delivered this Sunday morning, just hours ahead of doors opening. But across the region, leaflets and posters had been put in place, urging people to get out and vote. The ballot papers are said to be very simple, with no illustrations to make them difficult to forge. Polling is now underway and will continue until 8 p.m. local time in most of the towns taking part. Meanwhile, it's a day of voting, but also of mourning in Mariupol, and this after what was one of the bloodiest days in the Ukrainian crisis happened on Friday. France 24's Robert Parsons and Julien Sauvager went to see what the mood on the ground there was like ahead of voting.
Mariupol is reeling from shock, but the flag of the self-styled People's Republic of Donetsk is still flying over the city centre. The Ukrainian troops that wreaked havoc on Thursday have withdrawn to the city limits. As onlookers survey the damage, gunfire breaks the stunned silence. For a moment, it seems the army is back. In fact, the crowd has set fire to an abandoned Ukrainian armored personnel carrier, unaware of the ammunition stored inside. People appear oblivious to the dangers around them. Unexploded ordnance lies everywhere.
These are the same types of bullets they used to kill people at the police headquarters.
With the growing violence, it seems that hope is dying.
Everything is leading us to war. It's the guns that are speaking now. Our country is already in trouble, and now dialogue is finished. People are resorting immediately to force instead of looking for a compromise. They could have expanded regional autonomy, but no one was listening.
What's left now of the Mariupol police headquarters? The charred building and pockmarked walls bear mute witness to the previous day's carnage. A steady stream of visitors pays homage to the dead.
They opened fire and everyone hit the deck. I myself saw 5 people wounded. The worst, though, was when they opened fire on an ambulance. Can you believe it? An ambulance. They were just trying to evacuate the wounded.
The mood here is of sadness and incomprehension. How could things come to this in Mariupol? But there is also now a streak of anger that does not bode well for the future.
A bridge has been blown up and an unknown number of people killed in northern Nigeria this